Hey everybody, Andy Brady here again with the Easily Amused channel. And recently I recorded a video about the light phone, and I said it's not something I like to typically do is talk about cell phones, but a lot of the comments, a lot of the direct messages to me were wondering why, what's the point? Why would you have something like the light phone? And there's another phone very similar to the light phone that I thought people might like to know a little bit more about, and I thought I'd take a minute to talk about that as well, and then talk about why. Why does it matter, and why do we want to do this? And so we've got the light phone, and now I want to talk about the Palm phone. And this is a phone that they stopped making, they stopped carrying. You can still get it on Amazon. I'll put a link in the bottom, but let's get right into it. Okay, everybody. So the idea behind the light phone, I want to touch on that real quick just because a bunch of you asked on that last video, and you can go check it out if you want to learn more about it, is to have a second phone, to have a phone that is not your go-to phone, at least in my opinion. Don't replace your smartphone. You need it. You need your emails. You need your WhatsApp. You need your contacts. You need all that other stuff. You want to get a picture message, for example. But long gone are the days of work providing you a phone and then you having your own personal phone, which means you can come home, you can throw your work phone on the counter, and then go about your day with your personal phone. Not only that, but we all end up doom scrolling on social media, on the news, on whatever it might be. And next thing you know, we're sitting down at a table with our family, we're sitting down with friends, whatever it might be, and our focus is not with them, it's on our devices again. Again, we are doom scrolling on these devices, and we've all been guilty of doing it. And my big complaint about the light phone was they made such an effort to make it basically a dumb phone that at some point, why not just have a flip phone? This thing can't receive picture messages. It can do things like navigation, but it's very clunky, very slow at it. The keyboard's not very good on it. It does have voice to text, but again, very clunky. So it's, the question is, why not just get a dumb phone at that point? Well, there is an in-between. And the device is not really available anymore, but you can still get it on Amazon. You can still get it from some locally owned Verizon stores if you ask, only if you have Verizon, but you can get them unlocked as well. And that would be the Palm phone. And yes, we're talking Palm Pilot, going way back here. And it's been quite a long time. I sold cell phones for 14 years, so I remember pre-iPhone, pre-Android, talking BlackBerry and Palm, and back then I wasn't a big Palm fan. I was a Crackberry through and through. But what's the point of the Palm phone now? So, tell you a couple things. One, if you're on Verizon, you can activate it and you can use it the same way that you might use a smartwatch. Right? So it can have its own phone number, it can have its own contact list, it can do all of its own things. So you can leave your primary phone behind and you can take this with you and still have full functionality. So they kind of designed it to be this focus mode phone. And it does run Android. You can still open up the App Store. So the benefit there is if you're like me, I prefer not to text message, but I prefer to use WhatsApp. And when I use this device, I can still install WhatsApp and it will sync with my phone and I can still use both of them. But let's say that I'm going out to eat, I can leave my phone, which I have a Z Fold 5, which is about 6 times the size screen as this thing at least. I can leave that in the car, take this in, and I'm kind of in focus mode. I can get text messages, phone calls, and WhatsApp, but I've removed all my work email. I've removed all my personal email. I've removed Slack communications. I've removed all the little things. There's no social media. The web browser on it's not big enough to really be that useful, and it gives you a chance to disconnect from the world. So, the light phone was great for that same purpose, but it's almost like you need an in-between. This went too far, in my opinion, backwards of what it's going to offer you, to where now you're going to have a tablet, or you're going to have a laptop that you're going to constantly, all the time, for little things. I want to look up a local good sushi restaurant. Wasn't able to do it on this, and I don't think that that's too much engrossing yourself with your cell phone to have the option to search Google Maps on your device that you're using at the time. So it kind of gives you the in-between, the ability to disconnect. Another huge benefit to this is just like with a watch, you can actually activate this on your Verizon account where it will sync. So when somebody calls your phone number, you get a phone call on both your original phone and this one at the same time. But this also does still have a hidden phone number in it. You can go into the settings, you can find what its phone number is, and you can share that phone number with people who you want to be able to contact just this, so that it doesn't ring on both devices. So some of the other huge benefits that you have going on here. I've got a young daughter that, let's say we were going somewhere and she wants to go play on a playground somewhere, this can slip into her tiny little back pocket and she can take it with her. I can still do Find My Device. I can still call it. I could technically still send a text message to it and she will get that call. She'll get that alert. I can find her. I can communicate with her without giving her a real phone. More importantly, it's a phone that'll actually fit in her pocket, right? So it does have those benefits of being a full phone and at the same time, not really being a full phone. Here's where the downside comes in. This is the reason that this device failed. One, they advertise it to be a companion phone. So you're going to go work out and you want to take this into the gym with you. That's great. That kind of gets the idea. But they didn't take it as far as, these new minimalist style phones where you're trying to disconnect from the world. Technically, you have the ability to connect to the world, but you're trying to disconnect as much as you can. Get away from work, get away from social media, get away from the news of the day, and start using it really for a phone only. But where this doesn't have things like WhatsApp, and you might want that for personal, not for work, this will be able to do that. The phone's great. It's a great little phone. Camera's not so great. What do you expect? Tiny little phone. You can buy them on Amazon. I'll put a link in the bottom. Unlocked for about $200. It's almost a disposable phone at that price. The camera will take pictures. So if your child's doing something, your friend's doing something, you need to get a picture, you got it. It's not going to stack up to the S24. It's not going to stack up to the iPhone 15 Max. But you can still capture that information. Whereas a device like this, again, they've gone so hard in trying to make yourself disconnected that they didn't realize that having a camera doesn't make you connected to the world, right? I mean, just being able to take pictures of your surroundings, your environment, something fun that happened, take a picture of a phone number to remember it later, take a picture of your child doing something new. You lose all of that with a device like this, and you get it with this one. Now for the downside. This phone has been off of the charger for about 30 minutes, and it has been used none. Not a single bit. And it is at 82% battery. To put into perspective how bad the battery life is on this device, I can fully charge it, unplug it, go to sleep, and wake up in the morning, and it is dead. And I mean, nothing has been done. Remember, I've got no email, no social media, nothing syncing in the background. I don't have Google Photos backing up. I don't have any software that should be running. Yet, 8 hours later, with zero usage, this phone is dead. And you can fix it. Believe it or not, Mophie made a battery pack case for it, but then you end up getting a lot thicker and a lot bigger, and it loses some of that appeal about how small, how thin, and how compact it is. You lose so much of that because you need the battery life. So I actually only ended up with a light phone, funny enough, because I lost this phone. This phone, because it was not my primary phone, was in my pocket, and it fell out of my pocket. And then the battery died. So by the time a couple hours later that I realized, where is my little phone, I could no longer locate it. I could no longer track it. I could no longer call it, because even though it wasn't being used, it went dead. So for some people, this would be a great device, right? For me, it is a fantastic device. I actually leave it plugged in my vehicle pretty much all day because I don't need it when I'm in the office. But then whenever I'm going into a restaurant or something like that, or I'm going into a meeting where I need to not be distracted, I can unplug it, I can take it in with me, and I can leave my Z Fold in my truck, and I don't have to worry about taking it in. When I come in at the end of the day, I bring it in, and by the time I go to bed, it's probably going to be dead, whether I used it or not. And so it's quite a hassle that it does have to be charged. But I'm trying to make an effort, and I know a lot of you are trying to make an effort, especially if you found a video about the light phone, about the palm phone, about minimalist phones and disconnecting. It does still fit that same purpose, but I plan to see what I can do about maybe rooting it, removing stuff, putting a different ROM on it. I think if I could turn this into a minimalist phone more like this, that maybe some of that background stuff, whatever it is that's destroying the battery, because it's an 800 milliamp hour battery, not very much, of course, but with no usage, it should not be dead 4 or 5 hours later. It just shouldn't be. So I kind of wish that the light phone, instead of going with an e-ink display, I kind of wish that they had reached out to Palm and they'd said, we want to buy this phone, this design, this screen, and this everything from you. Or could the two work together? Can we come somewhere in between a phone that might as well be a flip phone? In fact, in some ways it's worse. And a phone that is a smartphone that can be used fully as a day-to-day driver if you could deal with the battery life, but gives you the ability to disconnect from the world. There's got to be an in-between. And there's new minimalist phones up. I'm going to link to a video that I saw, a new device coming out. It looks like an old school BlackBerry with a keyboard on the bottom. It does have the e-ink display, which I'm not super thrilled about, but it might just be what needs to happen. It is running on Android, so theoretically you should be able to install Android apps as long as they get approved for it, so that you wouldn't be disconnected from things like your WhatsApp. So my question to you guys, who else out there is trying to disconnect? Who else out there is trying to get back to the days of come home from work, and many of you watching this video never had this. Come home from work and take your work phone, leave it on the counter, cut it off, be completely disconnected. When somebody calls it, it goes straight to voicemail. When somebody sends you an email, it doesn't show a red receipt. When somebody sends you a Slack message, they see that you're away, you're not getting that message, so that you can go back to having a personal life that is not constantly interrupted by people who know that you're getting their messages, who know that you are ignoring their text message, who know that you carry your phone around with you all day, every day, and when they called you at 7 o'clock in the afternoon and you happen to be eating dinner, that you chose not to answer. Is there anyone else out there who's frustrated with this idea that we must be connected, that we must be accessible, and now suddenly it's rude that I'm not answering the phone for you at any given hour? I'm not responding to your text fast enough because you can see a red receipt. You know that I saw the text message, a WhatsApp. You know that I saw that message. And now it's considered rude that I'm going to wait till tomorrow at 8 o'clock in the morning when I'm back in the office to take the time to respond to you, because those are my office hours. Who else out there feels the same way? What I'd love to hear from you guys down in the comments. Who feels like they're too connected to their phone? Who has found another solution for the fact that they are too connected in this world? And what would you guys like to see? Have any of you guys experimented with things like the light phone, with the Palm phone, with installing something like Minimalist phone on your phone? Maybe you do have two phones. What is everyone else? In the comments, let us know. What are you guys doing to try to strike that work-life balance where you leave work and you leave it behind and you make it known to the world, I am not accessible for work purposes after this time? I'm desperately on that hunt. So I want to see your comments. I want to see what you've got to say, because I would love to know what phone, what device should I get next so I can start going down that road of becoming more disconnected. Please give us a like, give us a follow, and check out some of the links in the description. Some of those links will be affiliate links, so I may make a commission on them. I appreciate it if you use those links to purchase something if you decide to. And, leave in the comments, what else would you like us to talk about? What would you like to hear next, especially along this road? Anything to do with technology, we'd love to discuss it. So, Andy Brady with Easily Amused. Thanks for watching.